If you have children who are/were in relationships, what were the signs their partners could or couldn't be trusted? My son was with a girl that never asked about him. It was all about her. My dad told me later after me and an ex broke up that he told my mom that she's not the right one. I'm not a parent, but my sister brought a guy home who called my parents by their first name without permission. I think that counts. They used a location tracker on their phones to see each other. Or so he could track her. Made them hang out with only them. Or stop seeing their friends or family without them there too. Got annoyed if a reply to a text wasn't instant. Doesn't ask questions about your child. Your child acts different around them. Your child is constantly unhappy in regards to their relationship, that's obvious. Sexual or inappropriate jokes in front of parents I've noticed personally. How often do you look back to your poop before you flush? Always. Especially since I had major surgery and am on medications. Gotta be on the lookout for any possible warning signs. I always check. One time I noticed that my stool was partly brown, pink and green. I panicked. Until I realized that some days earlier I had been eating a lot of ice cream that was pink, strawberry, and green, mint. Well, if there is something wrong with the turd you dropped, it might be a sign that you are either ill or unhealthy. To answer your question, basically all the time. That's normal. So normal there used to be a website called RateMeShit.com LOL. From someone who has IBS and suffers from diverticulitis from time to time. It's a necessity to check to make sure everything is okay and functional. Every time. In Amsterdam, and maybe other European countries, toilets have a little shelf so you can have a good old look before sending it on its merry way. Lmao. It depends on how it felt. It is all came rushing out like a tsunami. I observed the poopy water. If it was a struggle, I observed the massive log that just came out my asshole. Nearly every time. Dunno why though. I don't know the difference or what it means or how to change it. It's merely an observation. Weird. Sick. But could be a healthy question. Only when been constipated days and hurts. Got to see just how big it was. Besides that, I try not to really. All the time. Poop is a good indicator of how your health is doing. The color. Viscosity. If it floats or not. For example, if you have very light brown, almost yellowish white poop that floats, you have a very fatty diet and you should correct that. If your poop is black, you could have internal bleeding. So it's important to look at it. Walking dog at 2 a.m. bad? I don't see that as weird. No. But is it safe in that area? Is your dog going to cause other dogs to bark and wake up their owners? That's what I would be concerned about. I just walk my dog before I eat and stuff. I regularly get off work at 1 to 3 a.m. and walk my dog when I get home. Sometimes I even see other people walking their dogs that late. Not weird at all. How else do you let your dogs read the newspaper and enjoy life? Did someone suggest it was weird? If so, they aren't imaginative enough or empathetic enough. 2 a.m. walk is better than no walk. Aside from daily exercise. It's good for stress they gotten from not being around you. I've seen on TV. Some dog owners deliberately taking their dogs for a walk late at night because they get anxious and aggressive around cars and or other people and dogs. And when a pet training expert advised them on this, he said it's not the best option, but it's an option. I walk around my house between 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. all the time. It's great, peaceful, quiet, relaxing before bed. I do live in the woods though, so I don't really run into other people often. I would just recommend making sure you wear something reflective and ideally get to know your neighbors at least a little bit. People are more likely to think you're up to something suspicious if you're just in regular clothes. I'm a lot less worried my neighbors are going to call the cops on me when I'm wearing my neon hat or vest lol. Honestly. As long as you're walking them and getting them the exercise they need. Who cares about when? It's commendable that you take the time to fit that into your schedule. You're a good doggo owner. What's your trashy guilty pleasure? Seeing people left an argument with red face, especially when they who's left are Karen. Climate change activists that do some bullshit protests that ain't related with what they want to aspiring or any person who angry about nonsense. Junkyards. I grew up with an uncle who owned a Mopar dealership and had a junkyard behind it. I would drive my parents' cars there to get an oil change or whatever, fix it and walk around the junkyard until it was finished. 40 years later. I still go to the junkyard often. Trolling. I want to make it clear that I don't do it to be malicious. I'm not evil. But sometimes it's just fun to play dumb and get people a little riled up. Like I have a whole bit where I pretend to be a flat earther. And sometimes if people are talking about music or something, I'll pretend to be an ignorant person who just got into the Beatles and thinks they're like a new underground band that more people should listen to. And that always works. Dumb stuff like that. I just get a kick out of it. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. If you fucking like something, like it. That's what's wrong with our generation, that residual punk rock guilt. Like, you're not supposed to like that. That's not fucking cool. Don't fucking think it's not cool to like Britney Spears toxic. It is cool to like Britney Spears toxic. Why the fuck not? Fuck you. That's who I am. God damn it. That whole guilty pleasure thing is full of fucking shit. And quote, Dave Grohl. Don't take it personally. But browsing Reddit. About 2/3 of Ida is just outrage bait. Either I found out my cousin is a serial killer and turned him in. And now my family is calling me an asshole. Or, I am a serial killer. And my family is calling me an asshole. And this sub is a great trashy pastime. As long as it's not flared serious and quat. Where did the whole disliking gingers thing come from? Racism ultimately stems from a natural aversion to foreign creatures. It's 'cause they have no soul. Gingers were in most regions a minority and were instrumentalized as a patsy by many groups as the church. Off topic. But I love the fact that Harry and Meghan's children are gingers. Bet that surprised the royals. Lol. I guess the ginger gene is strong. Ireland? They are minority. Every minority gets a lot of hate at some point. People used to think it was sign they were from hell/the devil. I think the South Park episode is where the gingers have no souls thing comes from. That and the old expression beat you like a red-headed stepchild and quat. I think most people like red hair and freckles. It depends on the country. If we really go back you can see examples of this in ancient Egypt. In the US it really boomed back when so many Irish emigrated there. Christians had a lot to do with it too. Since they always used redheads to describe sin, Judas is an example. In France it's because of the angry stereotype. Throughout history it has been different things. It all boils down to stereotypes and attacking what's different and quat. As it happens with so many other things.